Okay, so we're rolling.
Oh,
Hi,
hi.
thank you so much for coming. Um, so before we get into everything, I think we should start from where we met. I don't know if you can remember.
Mm, I know we met on a set.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was somewhere in Lekki, right?
yeah, I think it was 2021.
Mm-hmm. Was
Yeah,
it 2021? Oh yes,
I
yes,
think it
yes.
was it was off the heels of COVID in a way. It
Yeah.
was 2021 on Studio with Gideon Koya, where we
True.
did the he
True.
did
True.
the crazy. He had the golden hair. Yeah, I remember.
Hey. My afro when I still
Yeah.
had my afro. Yeah.
So you are a model
Yes.
and you're also a fashion designer.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So my name is Chisom Roselle, like everybody knows.
Yeah.
I'm a model. I've been into modeling. This will make it half a decade. I've been into modeling. I'm also into, I'm an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? I'm into I'm a, should I mean, I'm still getting hang of it I can't really call myself a fashion designer right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a clothing brand,
Yeah.
which I'm currently working on. We just launched last month. But before I finally launched, I mean, it took me like a year or two
Yeah.
before I was able to, say, this is it, you
So
know.
did modeling influence your passion for fashion designing, or did you have like a love for fashion and that led you into modeling? I'm kind of curious what led to the other because they're kind of in the industry, they go hand in hand. Like
Yes.
every model wears a brand,
Mm-hmm.
either hair, makeup. But so I'm kind of curious which led to the other. Was it your love of fashion that eventually led you into modeling? Then you decided I'm wearing other people's clothes. Why don't I make my own? Or
Mm-hmm.
was it the seeing people's brands and what you wear that influenced the fact that you felt like, oh, I can also be a fashion designer?
Okay, so actually it was modeling that
That
led
led.
me into, you know, fashion designing. Um, I have always been that girl, my little girl,
Yeah.
the inner child that's always wanted to be a model. In fact, the I've always wanted to be a beauty queen and also a supermodel.
Yeah.
But I didn't pull through with the beauty pageantry and stuff. Um, so I decided, you know what? I know I want to be a supermodel. I know I
Yeah.
want to be on billboards.
Yeah.
It has always been a dream to be on billboards, travel around the world and stuff. Um, yeah, so I ventured into that.
Yeah.
I took a leap first. I started with training, going for classes and stuff. And as soon as I got the the academy, like master classes,
Yeah.
and I got a peek of what
It looks
it
like.
looks like, I got more curious. And I'm like, okay, we can take this to the next level. I got signed, and then I got into the world of the modeling industry
Yeah.
and the fashion
Yeah.
industry. I was amazed with, the things like the beauty,
The glitz and the glamour.
do you understand?
Yeah.
Even the fashion designers, when I watch them, how they create, how
Yeah.
they do things, I was, I was like, wow. And
Yeah.
then from there, I mean, I have been a model for years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there, the passion grew, and then I'm like, ooh, wow, if they can do this, I can do
You
this
can
too. I
do
mean, and I'm that type of person. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I like to also explore.
Yeah.
You know, I like to explore. I'm very, I don't know the words to use,
Yeah.
but I'm very creative.
Yeah.
I have a very creative mind. So I said, oh, I like what are the kind of things do I like to wear?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people too
Who also,
who also like what, the kind of things I like,
yeah.
And I'm also not the type of person who like trends,
Yeah.
So I don't like trends. So I like wearing specific
Specific things.
kind of, clothes and, shoes and stuff. And when I got into the fashion industry as a model,
Yeah.
yeah, I also found out that, oh, they are actually people who are like me,
Yeah.
that don't like trend, that have what they like, how
Yeah.
they like to dress. I started, seeing people with different styles, like different unique styles. Like, I'm like, wow, so somebody can actually wear this kind of bead, can wear this kind of, stuff,
Yeah.
this kind of shoe. The shoe will be looking like, but if you look at the person personally, it just tells a different story about this person. I'm like, oh, so there are actually people who are like me. Before, I don't used to feel comfortable with my style. I used to feel like, oh, if I actually dress this way, somebody might find me weird.
Yeah.
But I kind of, as soon as I got into the industry, I figured out that, wow, actually, weird can be so cool.
I mean, yeah.
Weird can be so cool. So I'm like, oh, this actually boosted my
The
confidence,
confidence. Yeah.
into creating things, like, go ahead and create,
I mean, if we go back to your modeling career,
yeah.
as a photographer, one of the things I always hear, especially when shooting models who are starting up, is how do we start? So early challenges, when you started modeling, because like there are a lot of models who are also like struggling, like really struggling to not just to like, oh, this is not just a fluke. It's not just because I'm fine. I really want to make a career out of this. So what were like your early challenges and how did you overcome those challenges?
Okay. Let me correct something here.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I'm
Yeah.
still on the journey.
Yeah.
I haven't even figured it out yet.
Yeah.
So, um, in my early years of starting the modeling career, oh my God, I thought as soon as I get signed that jobs will start flowing in,
Yeah.
and everything,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that, actually. It wasn't actually. It took time.
Yeah.
It took time. At some point, I started questioning my my decisions. So, as at that time, I was working.
Like a proper 9 to 5.
Yes, I
Okay.
was working. I was actually working for an interior designing company
Yeah.
as at that time. Before I finally, like, I was already working before I got into modeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in between, I was finding the balance. You understand? So I was depending on something else
Mm-hmm.
while waiting for a job. Do you understand? And as at that time, I was living with my parents and everything. I'm still living even right now too. But life now.
Yeah.
So as at that time, I was living at home. So no, I don't pay rent. I don't have that, I don't depend so much on, like, all my income
Yeah.
on modeling. So the message I'm trying to pass here is that as a model, you don't have to depend fully, if you're just starting, you don't have to depend fully on modeling
Yeah.
if you're just starting. In the early years, I didn't depend fully on what I'm receiving from that end. I had to create something else.
Yeah.
You understand? So even after I quit my 9 to 5 job,
Yeah.
I had to start my skincare business.
Yeah.
So the skincare business was another thing that sustained me for a while. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because in the modeling industry, you don't get jobs every day, every week, every
Yeah.
now, except you're a big model who has been there for like a very long time. Now you have the connections, you have the platform, you have the right networking. Do you understand what I
Yeah, I
mean?
do. I do.
So um, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question, and I'm curious to know what you think about it. Because on one hand, I understand what you're saying when you say that you shouldn't, as a beginner, you
Yes.
shouldn't depend
Pain.
solely on
Yeah.
that, because you need to have like a balance between like what you want to do and the reality of what you are presented with.
Yes.
But also, you hear a lot of people say, if you are really passionate about something, leave everything else and follow that thing. Like, be adamant about that thing. Don't second guess it. Go for it. And people tell you that that's what I did. I quit my job. I did this. I did that to follow this thing. Is that realistic in terms of now? Industry vary from industry.
Mm-hmm.
In the modeling industry, do you think it's realistic for someone who believes that he or she is very passionate about modeling to say, I'm going to leave everything else and I'm just going to I'm not going to go for a 9 to 5, I'm just going to stick to auditions and just go, 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 go? Or do you think the more realistic or wise thing to do is to find like a balance between a steady income and then your passion?
Okay, so that notion
Yeah.
or that propaganda, because that's the latest
It's
thing
a
now.
propaganda.
That propaganda, that propaganda, is not realistic at all.
Mm.
Do you understand? I tried it.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't lie. I tried it because if there is one person who is very, very passionate
Yeah.
about modeling, that
Yeah.
I want to be a full-time model, I don't want to do any other thing, it's me.
Yeah.
I am number one person.
Yeah.
I'm very, very passionate about that. But reality will hit you.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to realize that, girl, girl, you know? So, in between,
Yeah.
while I'm chasing my dream,
Yeah.
because my dream is to be a supermodel, not just a local supermodel, but an international supermodel.
Yeah.
And this is a career, this is a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
So when you are taking this kind of step or you've made this kind of commitment to a career, you have to understand that it takes time for you to build.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. I used to think before that, with the passion, with everything, I can achieve everything once and for like, if I put all my energy now, like I'm going to get it here. No. There are times like I went for a casting, a particular casting last year.
Yeah.
I got rejected.
Yeah.
And as of that day, I think it was like that day, as of that day, I didn't have money. Like it was like my last, cash I had. And I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to get it with all full confidence, with my skin, that they're going to reject me, blah, blah, blah. I got there, I was rejected. I said, after all the money, the energy, the time, I cried. Oh, if I tell you, I cried. Sometime last year, I know how many rejections I got.
Yeah.
I cried every single time. It was always like some sort of heartbreak and stuff. But this year, I went for that same casting.
Yeah.
Not the same exact event, but same location, but not the same. But
Yeah.
I went there, the same place, the same, but not the same company. I don't
get you. I get
Do you
you.
understand?
Yeah.
It's not the same
Not the same brand that needs the
brand.
model. Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But I got there, I got accepted.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So what you might just be putting so much energy now,
Yeah.
and you get rejected. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Imagine you're putting all that dedication that I'm going to, and you are getting rejected. You might, if you are being so rational and you're being so,
Yeah.
do you understand? You're not being reasonable. Do you
Yeah.
understand? You're being so rational that, it's going to be modeling or not. And you keep getting rejected.
It affects you in a way.
If you don't actually become so reasonable to understand that sometimes things don't work the way we plan it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You
Yeah.
have to be patient. You might end up losing hope and you might say, oh, this is not for me. But you have to understand that modeling, whether as a model, as a photographer, as a creative, or whatever you're chasing,
Yeah.
if it's going to be a lifetime thing, you have to give it time.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You have to take it one step at a time. If it doesn't work out, find something else to be doing while you're still chasing it. Don't give up, but don't also use all the energy. Do you understand? Because if it throws you off, you might end up giving up because, oh, I have put in all everything. So it's also very, very important that you find something else while you're still chasing it.
Yeah.
So you don't get burned out, you know?
Yeah. I think one of the things I realized is that, there are several steps to success. You have people saying there are several steps to success. And one of those steps is failure,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But sometimes we can get so passionate, especially if you're doing something you really, really love. You can get so passionate about what you want to do that you don't want to accept that failure is a step to success. There's no one that is successful, truly successful, that hasn't really failed more times that they have succeeded. So, I completely get what you're saying, but I wanted to ask you a question about your fashion brand. Do you think your background in modeling or your background generally influenced the kind of products you put out in terms of not just what you like, but do you think what you liked was influenced by where you come from, what you stand for?
Mm, my fashion brand or
Yeah.
my brand as a whole or
Well, your brand as a whole, your fashion brand, I'm more concerned about your fashion brand in terms of I've seen some of your pieces and they're very unique. They give this like freedom is like a huge. So
yeah.
was that influenced by, because in the day and age of body sculpting, there has to be I don't want to mention the person's name that does the brand,
Mm-hmm.
but you get what I mean.
Mm.
The kind of outfits you make now, is it influenced by something? What influenced your decision to go in that direction?
Mm. You see this question, I've never thought about it. So like I'm more like okay, so um, I think I think you know when I make things,
Yeah.
I just make them, from the inspiration. But I never really thought about it in this direction
Yeah.
that you are asking.
Yeah.
But now you asked about it, and like it's giving me like a cue to go back
Yeah.
to my background
Yeah.
and to my influence, my family, the friends, and myself.
Yeah.
My circle. It kind of makes sense, in the
Yeah.
sense I'm somebody who is I'm a very simple person. I'm elegant.
Yeah.
When you see me first, you will refer me as elegant
Yeah.
first. And that shows in my work, whether as a model or whether as a fashion designer
Yeah.
or even in my craft
Yeah.
too. So my brand stands for elegance,
Yeah.
simplicity. Simple is luxury, but simple,
Yeah.
elegant, and exquisite. Like you can tell,
Yeah.
So this comes from me actually, who I am actually. I am somebody. I'm someone who likes. I like things just being simple. I like things just being, you know. So I think it comes from my mother,
Yeah.
my friends, the kind of people, you know,
You hang
I
around.
hang around
Yeah.
with. It also comes from my family. Do you understand the culture?
Yeah.
You understand? We believe in you have to you have to take things one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go just because everybody's doing it. Don't go doing it because everybody's doing it. Do you
So
understand?
that will lead me to one of the questions I have to ask you. Maybe I should ask that question now. How do you balance having a signature and having trends? Do you get like something's trending now
Mm.
that seems to be way off what you stand for.
Mm.
And they sometimes there might be a pressure to, this is what everybody wants to wear now.
Yeah.
And for example, your
I
dresses
think I
are, you
understand.
understand. So how do you find your balance that, okay, I'm going to be true to my identity and not just follow, everybody wants something skimpy and I'm going to make something skimpy. Everyone wants something, there was a time where those Ankara pants are trending. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll make something. So how do you find that stability, knowing, okay, this is what I stand for and this is what I'm going to stick to?
So when it comes to my fashion brand, I'm not looking forward to getting everybody
Yeah.
to buy my products,
Yeah.
what I make. Do you
Yeah.
understand? I am looking for certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? People who actually share the same view with me.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And I know that they will come.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So Zirachi is meant for a community.
Mm.
And Zirachi is just a baby for now. Like, it's still growing. It's not even like a year old right now. There was sometime in 2022 that I ran a test.
Yeah.
As at that time, I hadn't named it Zirachi.
Yeah.
As at that time, it was called Golden Skin Collectibles. And it was under the name of my cosmetics
Brand.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided to do an exhibition. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I ran this exhibition. I think the CEO of Payport, was it Payport or Jumia, bought a set for his wife
Yeah.
from me.
From you.
I can't remember who was that, but I think it was CEO of Payport or Jumia or something. And there were some other women, like older women, who bought beautiful pieces from me as at that time. And some elegant women, very powerful women who came
Yeah.
for fashion shows
Yeah.
as at that time. They came. And some, when I say mean powerful, I mean women who live in Koyi and stuff. And I know that these women are actually very powerful.
Yeah.
So that gave me an insight. So if actually I make this and this kind of people are the ones who purchase from me, that shows these are my kind of
Your kind of clientele.
clients. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So, and the clothes I actually made wearing trendy outfits. These are, so we are niched under summer, spring, collections and stuff. But I'm trying so much not to niche it, because sometimes I might have to, get more creative and do something else out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But for now, this is what I have decided this is what is going to be for now. So as at that time, that was what actually I made. I made bikinis, I made so many beautiful collections and just pushed it out there. And it was a success for that exhibition. The feedback I got was so encouraging.
Yeah.
Even there was this older woman, I think she was in her 60s or so, or 70s, very cute woman. She had her hair cut all gray. She called me. She advised me, and she was like, "Oh, how old are you again? And you are able to create this? Oh my God, you're this." She encouraged me.
Yeah.
She shopped for herself and her kid and her daughters that were in the UK or something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm actually doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You could think, oh, because they are wearing this, this is what is going on in the market and this is what people want. I should go into that so I can make sharp sales.
Yeah.
But that's not the thing. If actually you're authentic to your identity and what you're creating, and you have faith in what you're creating,
Yeah.
even though you're not making sales right now. I made this new collection,
Yeah.
right? And I just launched and I put it out there. And I didn't make sales for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
I started calling my mom. I was like, guys, Mom, so mad this. And then she said, I'm going, like my sister, they're like, don't worry, you will sell.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you will sell. It's because it's clothes. My mom said, It's clothes. Ah, wow. I mean, that's the reason why it has not sold, because it's clothes. Do you understand? So, but it will sell.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at these clothes, I'm looking at them, they're not selling, but you know. But this also made me realize that the women around me
Yeah.
also matter. Like
Yeah.
they influenced me and all of that. You know what you need. The people who have these clothes, the people who are your community will come. You know, and yeah, I think that's it. The thing also, I mean, I've sold skincare products
Yeah.
before. I've made skincare products, and all. I know how business starts. If you start business just now, you don't expect it to.
Just snap. Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
just take your time. Over time, give it like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. You see, you know, you are the one that will even begging, oh my God, please. You know, so when it comes to trend and
Your identity.
my identity, I will always choose my
Choose your
identity.
identity.
Yeah, it just gives you, it just frees you from unnecessary pressure.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah.
So you are in a very unique perspective, being that you are a model and
Yeah.
you're also a fashion designer. And I was curious, when you create your designs, are you thinking like as a model, like how will this sit up? Because models are gifted with knowing like fittings, how this should sit and how this should you get. So I'm curious, when you're creating your designs, are you thinking like a model in terms of what is flattering on the body, how it will sit and everything? And also when you're modeling, for example, you're modeling for other fashion brands and stuff, are you modeling as a fashion designer also, knowing that okay, this is what I'm meant to do so that this outfit can, because the way someone models an outfit sometimes can either make or break if people find it
Yeah,
attractive.
attractive.
You get. So I'm curious about your creative process, both as a model and like as a fashion designer.
You know the crazy thing about this whole thing is I I haven't had that thought process. I have never thought in that way before.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm creating, I don't even think about myself. I don't even think as a model. I'm not even a model when I'm trying to sketch out a dress and
Yeah.
stuff. I'm not even a model at that time. I'm actually thinking about the clients.
Okay.
I'm thinking about who I'm creating for. So when I'm creating a dress, who do I vision wearing this dress?
Yeah.
How will it sit on that person? Not me as a model,
Yeah.
not me as a fashion designer, but the client, the person who I want to sell it to. How will they feel when they wear this dress? When I sketch this dress, where can this my client wear this dress to?
To.
What kind of occasion? Where? How will they feel? Do you understand? And then when I'm in my modeling mode and I'm wearing a fashion designer's dresses,
Yeah.
I'm actually a model.
Yeah.
I'm in that mood of selling that dress.
Yeah.
And when I'm selling that dress, I'm selling it. When I wear it and I play with the dress and everything, I'm selling it to the client. So when I'm a fashion designer and I'm a model, I'm still thinking
You're
about
always
the
thinking
client.
about the client.
I'm not thinking about me
Yeah.
or how the dress looks on me. I'm thinking about the client. So when I wear it and I play around with the dress,